They silenced him. They stripped away everything he built. And last night on Raw, Finn Bálor finally had enough. What happened in Belfast wasn't just a promo, it was a reckoning. And if you think WWE is going to let him get away with what he said, you haven't been paying attention. This is about to get nuclear, and the fallout, it's going to change everything. But here's what's really got me heated, and I need you to stay with me on this because it's going to make your blood boil. For months, we've watched WWE Creative systematically dismantle one of the most talented performers on the entire roster. Finn Bálor, a man who carried New Japan Pro Wrestling on his back as Prince Devitt, who became the first ever Universal Champion, who led the Judgment Day from a joke faction into the most dominant stable in recent memory. This man has been reduced to what? An afterthought? A supporting character in his own story. Last night in Belfast, his hometown, in front of his people, Finn finally snapped. And honestly, it's about damn time. Let me paint you the picture of what went down, because if you missed Raw, you missed something that's going to be talked about for years. The crowd in Belfast was absolutely electric from the opening bell. These weren't just fans, these were Finn's family, his friends, people who've watched him since he was wrestling in tiny venues across Ireland dreaming of making it to the big time. The energy was different. You could feel it through the screen. When Finn's music hit, the place erupted. We're talking Stone Cold Steve Austin levels of crowd reaction. Grown men crying, kids losing their minds. This was a homecoming, a celebration of everything Finn Bálor represents to Irish wrestling and to Belfast specifically. But Finn? He didn't come out smiling. He didn't do the demon crawl. He didn't pander for cheap pops. He walked to that ring like a man with nothing left to lose, grabbed a microphone, and proceeded to deliver what might be the most raw, unfiltered, and brutally honest promo we've heard in years. Here's what made it so powerful. Finn didn't hide behind kayfabe. He didn't stick to the script. He spoke as Fergal Devitt, the kid from Bray, County Wicklow, who sacrificed everything to become Finn Bálor. He talked about the promises WWE made him, the championships he was supposed to win, the WrestleMania main event he was supposed to headline, the legacy he was supposed to cement, and then he asked the question that's been on every single one of our minds: what happened to all of that? Quick question for you watching, and I want you to answer honestly in the comments. When was the last time you saw Finn Bálor in a meaningful WWE Championship picture? Not a transitional feud, not a filler program, an actual, legitimate main event run. I'll wait. The answer is devastating. The answer is never. Not since that first Universal Championship run that got cut short by injury has WWE truly invested in Finn Bálor as the guy. And that's not because he can't do it. We've seen him do it everywhere else. It's because creative has decided he's more valuable as the guy who makes everyone else look good. In Belfast, Finn called this out directly. He talked about how he's put over every rising star they've asked him to. How he's done every comedy segment, every meaningless match, every creative curveball they've thrown at him without complaint. How he rebuilt the Judgment Day from scratch only to watch them push Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley to the moon while he stayed in the same position. The emotion in his voice was real. This wasn't acting. This was a performer who's given everything to this company, who's worked through injuries that would end other careers, who's been the ultimate professional, finally reaching his breaking point. And the crowd? They were behind him 1000%. Every single word he said resonated because the WWE Universe has been saying the same things for years. We've been begging creative to do something substantial with Finn. We've been watching this gene-rational talent get wasted week after week, month after month, year after year. But here's where it gets really interesting and controversial. Finn didn't just call out creative. He called out specific people. He mentioned wrestlers by name who've been given opportunities he never got despite having half his resume. He talked about part-timers taking WrestleMania spots from full-time workers like him. He brought up the politics, the backstage favoritism, the glass ceiling that exists for anyone under 6 feet tall. Comment below, do you think Finn was right to air these grievances publicly, or should he have kept things in-house? Because this is where opinions are going to divide, and I want to hear from all of you. The Belfast crowd started a chant that gave me absolute chills: give him what he deserves. Over and over, louder and louder, until the entire arena was shaking. Production tried to cut to commercial. They tried to fade his microphone. But Finn kept talking, and the crowd kept chanting. He called out the double standards. He pointed out how other wrestlers can demand title shots on social media and get them immediately, but when he asks for opportunities, he gets told to wait his turn or that it's not the right time. He mentioned how he's been in WWE for almost a decade and has less championship reigns than people who debuted 5 years after him. Then came the moment that's going to define this entire angle. Finn looked directly into the camera, and I mean directly, breaking that fourth wall completely, and said something that's going to force WWE's hand. I didn't come back to WWE to be comfortable. I didn't come back to collect a paycheck. I came back to be the absolute best in the world, and if this company won't give me that opportunity, I'll find someone who will. Let that sink in. In his hometown, on live television, Finn Bálor essentially delivered an ultimatum to WWE management. Push me properly, or I'm gone. The wrestling world is freaking out right now. Social media exploded. Former WWE stars are commenting. Current roster members are subtly liking tweets about it. This isn't just a worked shoot angle. This feels like legitimate frustration boiling over into the storyline. And that's what makes it so compelling. Now, WWE has a choice to make. They can punish Finn for going off script, bury him further, and prove everything he said was right. Or they can recognize that they are sitting on a powder keg of fan support and finally, give Finn Bálor the main event push he's deserved since day one. Here's my prediction, and tell me if you agree or disagree in the comments. WWE is going to lean into this hard. They are going to book Finn in a program that builds to a championship match, probably at WrestleMania. But, and this is the part that's going to make you angry, they are going to have him lose that match, making his entire emotional plea, his entire arc, completely pointless. They'll say the storyline was about the journey, not the destination. They'll move on to the next thing, and Finn will be right back where he started. I desperately hope I'm wrong. I hope WWE proves me wrong. I hope they look at the reaction to Belfast, see the passion Finn displayed, recognize the money they are leaving on the table, and actually pull the trigger on a proper Finn Bálor championship reign. Because here's the truth that WWE seems to forget. Finn Bálor doesn't need WWE as much as WWE needs talents like Finn Bálor. The wrestling landscape has changed. AEW exists. NJPW would welcome him back with open arms. Independent wrestling has never been stronger. Finn has options, and for the first time, it feels like he's ready to exercise them if necessary. The Belfast address wasn't just a promo. It was a line drawn in the sand. It was a man reclaiming his narrative and demanding the respect his body of work has earned. Whether WWE respects that demand remains to be seen. One more question before we wrap up. If WWE doesn't push Finn properly after this, would you support him leaving for another company? Drop your answers below because this conversation is just getting started. What happened in Belfast was special. It was lightning in a bottle. It was the kind of authentic, emotional moment that reminds us why we love professional wrestling in the first place. Now WWE has to decide if they are going to capitalize on it or squander it like they've squandered so much of Finn Bálor's incredible potential. The ball is in their court. The world is watching. And Finn Bálor? He's done waiting. If this video got you fired up, smash that like button and share it everywhere. Subscribe to Wrestling Zone 1 for more real talk about the wrestling business. And seriously, I need to hear your takes in the comments. Are you Team Finn, or do you think he's out of line? Let's get this conversation going because Raw just became must-see television again, and it's all because of one man who finally said what needed to be said. The revolution starts now. The question is, will WWE let it happen?